Welcome to Yoga Circle Studio. I'm Karen Guzak. There's another video here that we're doing to enliven and enlighten us as we are homebound. So I'm glad that you're here, that you tuned in rather than tuned out, coming to this moment. I've been thinking a lot about the challenges here and the suffering, yes, and the fear that we hold, but also realizing that there is a blessing here, a time where we can look to the positive, where we can come to know ourselves more deeply, where we can make choices about who we are, where we are, what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're feeling. And we can commit ourselves to personal growth, to health, to wholeness. So blessings are the theme of our practice today. To feel blessed moment to moment, to be in your body, to be thankful. So let's begin now by bringing your fingertips to your heart, the other fingertips to your belly, and straighten your spine and lift your heart, and a little bit of wiggling around just to feel centered here. And closing your eyes and deepening the inhalation and exhalation cycle. 6 breaths, breathing deeply. Inhale. Pause for just a moment at the top of your inhalation. And then exhale, pause for just a moment. And listening to one of the voices in your head, counting and listening to your body, breathing. With gratitude for this moment, these amazing, miraculous bodies, for our bright spirits, for our inquisitive and curious minds. This opportunity for personal growth. And now releasing and sitting back and just lifting those legs and release the feet for just a moment. And changing the cross of the legs. So if your hips won't open here, if your hips are a little tight, you have a couple of options, and one is just to force them down. Another is to release the leg if your one hip is tighter than the other. And if you do release the leg, I just invite you to push through the heel and spread your toes. You can release both legs as well if you need to. If you can come back to our easy pose, come back to easy pose. Any pose can be modified depending on what is going on for you, how your body feels. And so let's start with a side stretch now, bringing your right hand out to the right side. And drawing that left arm up and over. If your left hip comes up, press it down. If your shoulder won't open enough here, you can drop your arm down, or you can keep your arm down all the way, or you can bring your fingertips to your shoulder and lift up and open. What I'd like is for you to find a big opening through the side ribs. And we'll take 3 breaths here. Turning your head to look up. Coming back to center and changing the cross of your legs again. And coming to the other side. Again, modifying this pose if you need to, but finding that stretch through the side ribs, opening up, turning to look up, and taking 3 more breaths. Pressing your hip down to pull the stretch from fingers through the arm, through the side ribs, all the way to the hips. Coming back to center, we'll bring one leg back, bringing the right leg back, coming forward, bringing the left leg back, and sitting back on the heels for a few moments. Rolling the shoulders up, rotating those shoulders the other way. Feel your body. And now bringing your hands forward and finding some cat and some cow. And I've got a blanket under my knees. Often it's nice to have a blanket under the knees to pad the knees. Finding a flexion and extension of the spine and moving to the breath. Inhaling while you're open. You might want to shake your head a little bit, shake your tail a little bit. And exhaling as you curl the tailbone down, pull the navel point in, chin toward the chest. Find that stretch here, pressing down in your hands, down in your knees, and opening up. 3 more breaths. Making your exhalation a little longer and a little stronger. And now standing on the knees, and we'll continue to find a flexion and extension spine, this time now with an open-hearted back bend. Inhale here, and then cross your arms over, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, opening up, changing the cross of your arms, exhaling, coming down. Just work to your own capacity. Please be kind. Please be moderate. Please take care of yourself. Find the blessings in the movement, the good medicine that we find in movement. Coming back to center. Again, bringing your hands to the floor, spreading your fingers nice and wide, and this time squeezing your knees together, activating the inner thigh muscles. Let your toes go out behind and feel the tops of your feet here. Finding a nice neutral spine, taking 3 more breaths. Then we'll drop our hips off to the left side and find a nice stretch on the outer hip, hovering here. Back to center and dropping your hips to the other side. And as we extend the exhalation, we start to access the parasympathetic nervous system. That resting, digesting, aiding in feeling good here. And then we'll just do a little bit of juiciness in the hips, circling your knee around. 3 more breaths. Then extend that left foot out to the left side, toes pointing forward. Shift your weight now to your right hand and then circling that left arm around. Find the range of motion here in these important joints, the shoulders and the hips. Changing direction here on your shoulder roll. Coming back to center. Again, squeezing the knees together. Activate the inner thigh muscles. And then drawing that right leg up, circling the knee around. Changing directions on your knee circle. 3 more breaths. And extending your right leg out to the right side, toes coming forward, shifting your weight to your left hand, and then circling that right arm around. And again, if you have shoulder issues, you can bring your fingertips to the shoulder and find as much range of motion as you can. We want to move the joints, move all the muscles in our physical poses of yoga, and all the while we pay attention. Close and kind and curious attention. Bringing that leg back to center, and now setting your knees so they're hip width apart and tucking your toes under. Coming into back bend here. You can bring your fist to the lower back and open up a bit. Taking a twist to your right side, right hand to the right heel, and left hand coming up and over for a half camel with a twist. You can turn your head down, turn your head to look up, move the neck just a little bit here. And switching to the other side. Sitting back a little bit and just getting a nice toe stretch. Your toes tucked under. We call this singing toe pose, or sometimes for some people it's screaming toe pose, but a wonderful stretch for the plantar fascia at the bottoms of the feet. Coming back now, standing on the knees, and we're going to bring the right leg out to the right side, your toes pointed away from your body. Bringing your right elbow to that right knee, and finding a little mudra here. Your thumb against the middle finger and the ring finger. And let's bring the left hand back and just align your shoulders with the hips and pulsing here. to move fluid through the joints, to move to the breath, to find a moving meditation. Three more breaths. Feels so good. Now straighten that right leg. I have to move my foot a little bit to do that. Bringing the arms out to the side. You can point your toes, but spread your toes. Point your toes or push through your heels. And we're coming into a pose we call gate pose. Parigasana is a Sanskrit name for it. And bringing that right hand towards your shin and left hand, turning the palm up and over. And again, finding this lovely open side stretch. Three more breaths. On your next exhalation, bring your left hand down. Plant it firmly on the floor, and then let your right leg float up, right hand up, turning to look up, and 3 breaths. Bringing your right leg back home, letting your toes go out behind, and sitting back on your heels for just a few moments. Or if sitting on your heels doesn't feel good, you can stand on your knees, or if you have a block or blanket you can put behind your knees, do that. Otherwise, this is a lovely pose for stretching the knees, stretching the ankles, and a nice interim rest here. Again, we find the blessings in this beautiful practice, such wisdom we find here, such a healing and wholesome practice. Standing on the knees again, we'll bring the left foot out and mirror here what we do in the left side with what we did on the right side. Bringing your elbow to the knee and finding the mudra again, this fingertips together. This is a grounding Mother Earth, grounding mudra. Mudra is a pose for the fingers and the hands. And pulsing. Back to center, straightening that leg, moving your foot away if you need to, and arms out to the side, notching in that hip and bringing your hand to your shin. You can turn your palm up on that left hand and then palm up and over as you stretch through the side body. 3 more breaths. Swooping the right hand back down to the earth on the side, to the mat. Plant that hand so it's firm, and then lift that left leg up, left arm up. 3 breaths. As we work the muscles, inner thigh, outer hip, working the muscles that support the spine, the torso, opening shoulders, opening hips. And then bringing that foot back home. Toes go out behind again, sitting back on your heels or standing on your knees, finding a place where you can rest for a few moments. Feel your body. The blessings of this body, blessings of this practice, creating more strength, more flexibility, more balance, physically as well as emotionally, mentally, spiritually as well. Now tipping forward, hands on the edge of the mat or on the floor, stepping 1 foot wide, stepping the other foot wide, and turning your toes in and coming into a nice wide-legged forward fold. Spreading your fingers wide, toes turned in, heels a little bit wider, and find a cat and a cow here, flexion and extension. Three more breaths. Now flipping your heels in, your toes are wide, our knees are bent, coming up part way and dropping one shoulder down. Oh, feeling that stretch here. Exhale as you come down, inhale, come up. Exhale down to the other side. And then coming back to center, this is a pose we call goddess pose. So you may come up on the balls of your feet, strengthening your feet, and again you may confine with the mudra. thumb and fingertips touching, feeling grounded in this Mother Earth energy. We're going to be doing a moon salutation this morning. This open, side-to-side practice, where goddess pose is the interim middle pose. With sun salutations, the downward facing dog is the middle pose. Just follow along as best you can. We're dropping those heels down, making the feet parallel for just a moment, pressing our feet away from each other to feel the hips. And then drawing the legs toward each other to feel the inner thighs. Now preparing for triangle pose as you flip your right toes out, left heel goes back behind. And again, we want the shoulders and the hips to be aligned. So this is similar to our gate pose, but it's standing pose, triangle pose. Bring your right hand down to your shin, no need to go deeper or go too low. Keep the form of the pose. There's a tendency for your butt to go back, press it forward, and open up. Depending on your neck, you can turn to look up or you can turn to look down. Take 3 more breaths. Feel the pose. There's a glory in this pose. There's huge life energy here. Closing the pose up, folding your fingertips to the floor, coming down to pyramid pose. Working as best you can to level the hips. Letting that back heel pop up and dropping your knee down to the blanket. Finding crescent moon pose. So for me, I'm going to step my foot forward just a little bit more. We want to stack that knee more or less over the ankle and then open up. Here's the back bend. Crescent moon pose. This key pose in this moon salutation. Feel this moonlight, this subtle energy. More feminine, more nuanced, more intuitive. Hands on the floor and an exhalation coming back up through pyramid pose. Flipping the feet, coming back to your middle point here. This wide leg is standing forward fold. Flipping the heels in, bending the knees, and coming again into goddess pose. For 3 breaths. Flipping the feet as you go, preparing for triangle pose. Shoulders and hips aligned again. Coming down as far as your body will allow. Not too much, not too little. We practice moderation and kindness continually through our poses. And then closing the pose up. Coming into pyramid pose now. Working to level the shoulders, leveling the hips. Then letting that black heel flip up, bringing the knee forward. You can step your foot forward or not, find your modification. If your arms won't go up ahead of you, another modification is this wonderful one of interlocking your fingers behind your back. But let's open up to this classic pose. Such a pose of celebration, crescent moon pose. 3 more breaths. Bring your fingertips to the floor. I'm going to step my feet back a little bit, tucking the toes in, finding pyramid pose. Let's do this sequence one more time as we come back through center. Take a moment here in this standing forward fold. Flipping the heels in, the toes out. Coming again into goddess pose. Flipping the feet as we go, preparing for triangle pose. Reaching up, pressing down, find the form, find the alignment. On your next exhalation, fold it forward into pyramid pose. With back heel come up, let the knee drop down, and open again. On your next exhalation, drop your hands down. Find pyramid pose again here. Walking your hands back to the middle, flip your feet in, toes in, heels a little wider. And then toes out, heels in, knees bent. Be a goddess. Find that goddess nature. All your inner voices. Just realize this divine spark within each one of us. And dropping the feet down, preparing one last time for our triangle pose. Closing the pose up, finding pyramid pose. Letting your back heel flip up, dropping your knee down. Stepping that foot forward if you need to, if you have the flexibility, and opening to crescent. On an exhalation, hands to the mat, pyramid pose, walking back to center. And we'll rest here. Wide-legged, standing forward fold. Toes turned in, heels a little wider if your feet will allow. A little bit of wiggling here, shaking can be really nice. Walking your hands over to one side, bending that knee and dropping the hips a little deeper. Up and over to the other side. And now bringing your hands to center, and we're going to heel toe the feet in. I'm going to set my blanket aside here now so that I can come back. Heel toe my feet in. A little wide, a little wider than hip width. Heels in, toes out, and coming down now into a nice deep squat. So if your heels come up, you can grab that blanket and put it underneath your heels. Leaning forward here, belly soft between your thighs, hooking your elbows. Now onto your knees and pressing. Palms of the hands together. 3 more breaths. It's a very beneficial pose. We're joining millions of people on this planet at this time in this pose. On your next exhalation, bring your fingertips to the floor. Straighten those legs and come in a little bit more. Heel toeing in a little bit more. This time heels touching and toes a little wider. This is a froggy foot pose. And coming down now into another squat, a little frog squat. You can be a little prince or princess in your frog body. Now we'll just bring our hands down. We're dropping our hips off to the side, and we're going to change our position here. You can scoot yourself down so that you can have your buttocks centered in the mat. And we're going to slowly go to some lying down poses. Reaching your hands forward, you can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes if you want to go touch your toes just to say hello. We reach forward with the hands and back with the shoulders and come and find a little sweet spot here. Again, not too much, not too little, but activate these muscles that hold your spine without collapsing, but lifting your heart. Finding the blessings here, the strength, the flexibility, the health, the wholeness. And then we're going to take a nice slow roll down. Take your time, take your time. Feel that core, abdominal muscles. And then you can bring your knees into the chest for egg pose. You can pedal your feet. Let your head and chest come down. And bring your heels now close to your buttocks. We're going to come into bridge pose, but a modified bridge pose. I want you to squeeze your knees together, activate your inner thigh muscles, and bring your elbows in tight toward your rib cage so you can use your inner arm muscles. And then pressing down, coming up. 3 more breaths. Now drop your hips down just enough that you can soften your buttocks. You might want to wag your tail a little bit, but keep the strength in your arms. And then drop down, curl down, tuck the tailbone as you curl on down, draw the knees to the chest, egg pose again. Opening up, putting a knee into each hand and circling those knees around. Changing direction in your knee circle. Now bring your knees together and circle them both in the same direction. Give yourself a nice little massage in the lower back as we're cooling down, calming down. Changing direction in your knee circle. Such a lovely massage in the lower back. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide, arms out to the side, palms up, resting here in the supine version of goddess pose. Soft, relaxed. Feel the blessings in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits. The blessings of this practice. So grateful for the wisdom of yoga. And now extending one leg, extending the other leg, extending your arms overhead, big long stretch. Feels so good. And then bring your hands back to classic Shavasana position. And then turning your toes in and toes out, toes in and toes out, toes in, toes out. And then with your toes out, soften. And 6 breaths here. As you inhale, pause for a moment. Feel your lungs full. As you exhale, pause for a moment to empty your lungs. Listen to one of the voices in your head counting, listening to your breath. Just taking this little pause as a reminder of our many blessings. This life is a blessing. This planet is a blessing. Our communities, our family. So please stay in Shavasana. I'm going to move. I'm going to sit up. And I want to read to you a little bit. This wonderful piece about blessing is called the Tree of Life Blessing. It's really about our practice of yoga, about our lives. Shiloh Sophia is the author. Tree of Life Blessing. May you choose outrageous actions that challenge who you are and encourage who you are becoming. May you take one step, however small, toward that which you have always longed for. Now is the right time. Now is the right time. May you recognize the unique and powerful contribution that you bring to the people whose lives you touch. May you be as wonderful as you really are and do things because you want to, not just because you should. May you celebrate your creativity and believe that you are a creative artist with a unique vision that no one else has. May you find peace and purpose and possibility amidst the chaos while remaining aware of the unrest in the world. And may you reach toward the spirit with a longing that keeps you awake to the miracles available all around us. May your faith move any mountains that stand in your way and bring you great teachers to awaken your understanding. May you give up shame, guilt, and self-neglect and replace them with qualities like freedom, integrity, and self-nurturing. May you offer the gifts and blessings of your soul to beings of the world when the time is ripe for you to release them. May you passionately and deeply love and be loved by someone who can see who you really are. May your body speak to you and teach you how to care for the temple that houses your bright spirit. May you walk gently on the earth and honor your hearth and family with your action and your rest. May you find and enjoy the fruit of abundance so that your life path can be fortified and furthered. May you embrace the tree of life, and be informed by the wisdom that she brings to those on her path. May love be at the center of all your choices, and may you, with me, send this blessing to all beings, the Tree of Life blessing, and such blessings. And now, as you're ready to come to sitting again and join me, bring your hands to Namaste, to prayer pose. Lift your bright heart. Feel the blessings of this practice, the time well spent. Moving, breathing, paying attention, becoming more mindful moment to moment. finding peace, peace and purpose right here, right now. Blessings upon you. Namaste.